There's a quiet feeling that follows some people almost every day. You're doing things, you're trying, you're moving, but somewhere in the background, a voice keeps saying, you're still behind. Behind on life, behind on your goals, behind compared to people your age, behind where you thought you would be by now. And even when you make progress, the feeling doesn't fully leave. It just adjusts the target and tells you you're still not there yet. Most people assume this is ambition, or high standards, or simply wanting more from life. But psychologists know that for many people, the constant sense of being behind isn't really about productivity at all. It can be about how the mind measures time, worth, progress, and safety. It just adjusts the target and tells you you're still not there yet. Most people assume this is ambition, or high standards, or simply wanting more from life. But psychologists know that for many people, the constant sense of being behind isn't really about productivity at all. It can be about how the mind measures time, worth, progress, and safety. Because sometimes you aren't actually behind. You just don't know how to feel caught up. This feeling becomes obvious once you recognize it. You look at someone else's progress and immediately feel the gap. Someone gets promoted. Someone gets married. Someone buys a house. Someone starts a business. Someone seems to have figured out their life. And suddenly, without even meaning to, you start measuring yourself against them. You finish something and think it should have been done earlier. You reach a goal and immediately start thinking about the next one. You rest and feel slightly guilty, as if resting itself is proof that you're falling further behind. Even a small win can be followed by, yes, but look how much is still left. From the outside, you may look driven, disciplined, ambitious. From the inside, it can feel like running on a treadmill that never stops. You keep moving, but somehow never feel like you're getting anywhere. And the strange part is that the feeling doesn't always match reality. You may actually be doing reasonably well. You may even be ahead in some areas of your life. But something inside you still insists you're late. Late to your goals. Late to success. Late to becoming the person you thought you would be. For many people, this is where the deeper problem begins. The nervous system starts treating being behind as an emotional threat. Not because something terrible is actually happening, but because your brain has learned that falling behind means something important about your worth, your safety, or your place in the world. Your brain is constantly comparing. It compares who you are now with who you think you should be. Your timeline with everyone else's highlight reel. Your current position with an invisible ideal version of your life. And when the comparison comes up short, something inside you reacts. Not physical danger, but the fear of losing your place. The fear of being left behind. The fear that everyone else is moving forward while you're somehow standing still. So the brain creates urgency. And urgency can feel strangely productive. It pushes you to work harder, to catch up, to close the gap. For a while, that pressure can even feel like motivation. You may tell yourself, good, I need this pressure. Otherwise, I won't get anything done. But chronic urgency has a cost. Rest never feels completely earned. You're physically here, but mentally you're already somewhere ahead, thinking about what needs to happen next, what you should have accomplished by now, how much further you still have to go. And eventually, life becomes less about experiencing where you are and more about measuring how far you are from where you think you should be. You accomplish something, and the standard changes. You reach the milestone, and suddenly it doesn't feel like enough. You get closer, and your brain says, not close enough. That's how someone can be making real progress while still feeling like they're losing. This pattern doesn't appear out of nowhere. For some people, it begins early. Maybe progress was closely watched. Maybe achievement brought approval, while falling behind brought disappointment. Maybe they learned that staying ahead kept life calmer. But childhood isn't the only possible explanation. This feeling can also develop through years of comparison, academic or career pressure, financial stress, social media, failure, or simply watching other people seem to move faster. Different experiences can teach the same lesson. I need to keep moving, or I'm falling behind. And once the brain learns that rule, it doesn't always update it when life changes. Years later, you may be completely capable and independent, yet still feel anxious whenever progress slows down. The environment has changed, but the internal measuring system hasn't. So the feeling becomes less about your actual timeline and more about an old alarm telling you, keep moving. Living with a constant sense of being behind extracts a quiet price. Joy becomes harder to fully feel because every moment is measured against an invisible standard. You accomplish something, but your mind is already calculating what's next. You take a day off, but part of you is still counting everything you haven't done. You spend time with people you love, while another part of your mind is checking your progress. And slowly, something important happens. The present stops feeling like a destination. It becomes a waiting room. You're always preparing for the life that will begin once you've finally caught up. Once you've achieved enough, earned enough, become enough. But the finish line keeps moving. And that's how someone can become incredibly capable while privately feeling like a failure. They may look successful from the outside while carrying an exhaustion that never completely lifts. The urgency that once helped them keep moving slowly becomes a cage. Not because ambition is wrong, but because peace becomes conditional on never falling behind. And that is a very heavy way to live. The goal isn't to stop caring about growth, and it isn't to convince yourself that your goals don't matter. The goal is to understand what this feeling is trying to protect and teach your nervous system that you don't have to live in constant urgency to be safe. Start with something small. Finish one day without immediately calculating how much further you still need to go. No mental scoreboard. No comparing yourself to where someone else is. No asking, what should I have accomplished by now? Just notice what happens. You may feel uncomfortable. You may feel restless. Your mind may immediately tell you that you should be doing more. Don't fight it. Just notice it. Stay with that discomfort for a few moments longer than usual. Because sometimes the hardest thing for a constantly driven person isn't working harder. It's allowing themselves to stop measuring. And if you stay with it, you may notice something. It rises, and then it begins to soften. You can also practice separating your worth from your timeline. Your life doesn't have to follow someone else's schedule to be meaningful. There is no universal age at which you're supposed to have everything figured out. No single correct pace. Some things take longer. Some paths change. Some goals stop mattering. And sometimes, you're not behind. You're simply somewhere different than you expected to be. Practice allowing moments of enough for now. Not as giving up, not as settling, but as teaching your nervous system something new. Safety can exist even when the checklist is incomplete. Little by little, your brain can learn that slowing down isn't the same as losing. Rest isn't falling behind. And someone else's progress doesn't make your own life less valuable. If you always feel like you're behind, you are not broken. You are not failing at life. Your mind may simply have developed a powerful way of keeping you alert in a world where progress became connected to safety, approval, belonging, or worth. Understanding that doesn't erase every anxious thought, but it changes the conversation. You stop asking, why can't I ever catch up? And start asking, what is my mind trying to protect me from? The next time that familiar feeling rises, that quiet panic that you're late to your own life, pause for a moment and ask yourself gently, is this really about where I am? Or is this about feeling safe? Sometimes that single question is enough to interrupt a pattern that has followed you for years. Because maybe you don't need to catch up to someone else's life. Maybe you don't even need to catch up to the person you thought you would become. Maybe you are allowed to be where you are. And if this video helped you understand yourself or someone you care about a little better, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind everyday feelings and behaviors, consider subscribing. Until next time, take care of yourself.